So I'm going to click on the top of curb feature line and notice that that's the limit of our grading, the top of curb feature line. So I want to basically do some grading, so I'm matching down back into existing ground with a 3:1 slope. Now if you don't know what a 3:1 slope is, basically a 3:1 slope is a slope with a ratio of 3 units horizontally to 1 unit vertically. So that's a 3:1 slope. It's not very steep, but that's a stable slope to work with. So I'm going to pretend my top of curb is up here. We want to match down to existing ground with a 3:1 slope. We don't want to go too steep, for example, with a 1:1 slope, because that would be unstable. So I'm going to come back over and zoom into the area I'm working. At the menu bar, click Grading, click Create Grading. So I want to grade to a surface, and over here, if you hover over the icons, you can set the target surface. So I want the target surface to be my EG surface, my existing ground. And now, if you hover over this icon, it says Create Grading. So I've selected the Create Grading. Now I'm being prompted at the feature line to select the feature. So basically select the feature line. So I'm going to click this feature line. Notice how it's all highlighted. Select the grading side out here. Apply to an entire length. Yes. So it's saying slope. I want all my slopes to be 3:1. So when it says slope, hit the space bar. Now type 3 if it isn't already in there for 3:1 slope. Do it again and hit 3. So basically there it asks me for the slope for cutting and filling. So I'm going to hit escape, and notice that this feature line has been generated. So basically I've created a grading from the top of curb feature line down to existing ground using a 3:1 slope. If you click on that feature line, you can add it to the surface as a break line. So add it to the surface as a break line and click OK. Later we're going to go back in and revise our border around our surface. So I'm going to continue with my create grading. This time I'm going to select the sidewalk feature line, and notice how the sidewalk feature line cuts all through our site. Now I only want to grade on the outside here, so once you select the feature line, follow the prompts at the command line. Select the grading side. I want to grade out here. Apply to entire length. This time select no, or type N for no, and hit the space bar. So it's asking you to select the start point, and notice the directional arrow. So I'm going to make my start point over here, left click and hit the space bar, and move that arrow to where you want the grading to finish. So I want it to finish over here, and hit the space bar again. I've left clicked and hit the space bar. So now you're being prompted again for what slope you want to use. So I want to use 3:1, so I'll accept that. If you wanted 2:1, you would type 2 and hit the space bar, but I'm going to leave it 3:1. Hit the space bar, and notice how a feature line has been generated, and I'm going to add that feature line to my finished ground surface. So basically over here I have some sloping. Now I'm going to do the same around the building. I'm going to quickly do this. Select the grading side. Apply the entire length. No. I'm going to start over here. So I'll left click, hit the space bar, and I want to grade as far as, let's say, here. Left click and hit the space bar, and keep hitting the space bar because you want to select 3:1 slope. I'm going to select the feature line that has been generated, right click and add it to your finished ground surface as a break line, and click OK. Notice the sloping now is coming together and it's going all around our building. So I'm going to create a grading for over here. Select the grading side, outside here. I'm going to start about there. Left click, hit the space bar, and move it to where you want to finish the grading. So I'm going to move it to there. Left click, hit the space bar. Hit the space bar for slope, 3:1, slope, 3:1, and a feature line is again generated. I'm going to select that feature line and add it to my finished ground surface. So click OK. Now I'm going to delete the border that was there previously, and I'm quickly going to draw in a new boundary around my surface and around my new grading area. It's a very rough boundary, but it's going to tidy up all those contours that are lying around. So I'm going to close this grading creation tools dialog box. Click your tool space. Make sure your FG is set to rebuild automatic. I'm going to expand my FG surface, expand definition. Click on boundaries, right click, and I want to add a boundary, and I want it to be an outer boundary, and I want it to be destructive, so click OK and select your boundary, and now you have a nice clean surface. I'm going to hit a save. If you click on your surface, right click and click the object viewer, I think this is set to, there is some vertical exaggeration on this surface, but now you can see that our surface is matching back down to existing ground. And you can see exactly what's happening. So download the lesson, the AutoCAD file for this lesson, and practice grading and create a grading and sloping back down to existing ground. You can use 3:1 sloping or 2:1, 1:1. It's up to you. I would recommend going with 3:1.